You know that feeling, right? When you are just on the edge. Everything inside you is screaming that you just can't hold on 1 second longer. We've all been there. It's that absolute breaking point. Well, today, we're going to dive into an ancient text that looks at that feeling not as a weakness, but as this critical moment that, believe it or not, can be completely transformed.
And he gives us this really powerful image. Imagine a person just hanging over a cliff. I mean, gravity is very real. The fall is a serious threat. And if you don't have something to hold on to, collapse isn't just, a possibility. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. That feeling the text calls fainting, that's basically the pull of gravity on your soul.
Okay, so if we're all going to find ourselves hanging from that cliff at some point in our lives, what's the rope? What's the thing that keeps us from falling? That is the big question, and we're going to answer it by unpacking just one single powerful verse that has literally been a lifeline for people for thousands of years.
All right, first things first. We have to understand just how high the stakes are here. When the author of this psalm, David, talks about fainting, he is not just talking about having a bad day or feeling a little bummed out. No, we are talking about a complete psychological and physical collapse under just immense, crushing pressure.
The way the original text is written, it basically starts out by saying, look, if it wasn't for this one thing, I would have been finished, done. I would have completely collapsed. So yeah, this is not mild discouragement. This is the brink of utter ruin. He's telling us I was at the absolute end of my rope.
So, what stopped the fall? What was it? What was that one thing that interrupted this free fall into total despair? Well, the text introduces a lifeline. It's a very specific kind of belief that acts like a powerful brake against that collapse. And here it is. This is the rope. He says, I would have collapsed unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds a little like simple positive thinking, right? But when you look at the original Hebrew, it reveals something so much more robust. It's an active survival tool. So let's break it down. Okay, let's start with that word, belief. The Hebrew word is aman, and this isn't about wishing for something, not at all. The root of the word actually means firmness, reliability, trustworthiness. Think of it like the act of anchoring yourself to something completely solid. It's an active, stabilizing trust.
And what was he trusting in? To see God's goodness. And again, in the original Hebrew, the word tob isn't just some abstract moral quality. It means tangible blessing, beneficial action, welfare, even prosperity. So David wasn't just hoping for a nice feeling. He was fully expecting to experience God's real tangible help.
And here's the kicker, this is the most crucial part. Where did he expect to see this goodness? In the land of the living. This isn't about, just hoping for heaven one day after you die. This is the absolutely radical belief that God's tangible, helpful goodness would show up right here, right now, in this life.
So, okay, you've grabbed the rope, you've anchored yourself in this belief. So, what now? What do you do next? Well, the very next verse gives us the practical instructions. It tells you exactly what to do while you're hanging on, while you're waiting for that tangible goodness to actually show up.
Here's what he writes. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. And then, just so you don't miss it, he repeats it. Wait, I say, on the Lord. This is not a gentle suggestion, folks. This is an urgent command. But what on earth does it really mean to wait? This is so cool. The Hebrew word for wait, kavah, is just incredible. It literally has the sense of twisting or binding strands of a cord together to make a rope stronger. So, you see, waiting isn't passive. It's not about being lazy. It's this active, expectant tension. You are literally binding yourself to your source of strength, making the connection stronger. And this paints a brilliant picture of a divine partnership. See, the verse tells us to take the first step, be of good courage. That's our part. We choose this inner posture of firmness. And then, when we do that, God meets us with the second step, he shall strengthen thine heart. Our choice actually invites his reinforcing action. It's a two-way street. Okay, now let's zoom out a bit, because this idea of waiting isn't just a one-off thing. It's actually one of the most central, transformative themes in the entire biblical narrative. Delay, when you look at it from this perspective, isn't a problem, it's a process. And you see this pattern everywhere. I mean, everywhere. In Genesis, Abraham's faith gets tested by decades. Decades of waiting for a son. Then you get to the book of Kings, and King Saul refuses to wait, he acts impatiently, and it costs him absolutely everything. The prophets come along and they promise renewed strength to those who wait. And then, of course, in the Gospels, Jesus is the perfect model of waiting for the Father's perfect timing.
So what this reveals is this pretty profound paradox. What looks totally negative on the outside is actually producing something incredibly powerful on the inside. So that delay you're experiencing, that's actually formation. That silence you're feeling, that's a moment of instruction. All that pressure, it's building strength. And that feeling that God is hidden, that's actually what's bringing about your transformation.
So, if there's one key takeaway, it's this. Waiting is not just about gritting your teeth until you get the thing you want. It's the process God uses to make you into the person who can actually handle the thing you've been promised. The real work, the most important work, is what's happening inside of you.
But listen, all this waiting, all this believing in what we can't see yet, it's all heading somewhere. It's not for nothing. There's an ultimate destination where all that tension is finally resolved, where our faith finally gives way to sight.
You see this contrast in the New Testament between our reality now and the one that's coming. Right now it says we walk by faith. We're seeing things imperfectly, like looking through a glass darkly. But there is a then that's coming, a time when we will walk by sight and we will see face to face with absolute, perfect clarity.
So here's one last metaphor to kind of tie this all together. Think of it like this. The entire life of faith, this whole process of waiting, it's like walking through a really dense fog. You can't see the final destination clearly at all, but you trust the path that's right there under your feet, one step at a time. And fulfillment, that amazing moment when we see face to face, that's the moment the fog completely lifts. And the destination you were walking toward in trust, it's suddenly, finally, and perfectly visible. Every single step you took in the waiting was leading you right here.
So, we'll end with this question for you to think about. If waiting isn't just a pause, but it's actually a preparation, then what is the delay, the pressure, the silence in your own life preparing you for? What strength is it building inside of you right now? And what incredible goodness is it preparing you to finally, one day, see?